Carney. I'm joined by Councilor Allen and Councilor White. It appears that the first item on the agenda is an extension of agreement with Syracuse University for parking. Is there someone that can walk us through what the agreement is and I guess why we're extending it?
Good afternoon, Councilor Carney. This is Corey Dunham. I think at this point we are going to ask to withdraw that item. There are some details that we need to get straightened out. So I apologize for that last minute notice, but I think we're going to ask that one be withdrawn at this time.
So then moving on, the Beautify Berwyn legislation there, it's I believe that's a sidewalk that Huber Brewer is doing, correct?
Yeah, so Councilor, this is Commissioner Michael Collins, Neighborhood and Business Development, and you are correct. Huber Brewer has approached the city with the offer that as a gift to the neighborhood and technically to the city, they would like to replace the sidewalks. Many of the sidewalks along the block-long stretch of Berwyn are in poor condition. So at their cost, they would like to replace the sidewalks with a plan of doing the east side of the street this year. And then the expectation that they would be able to go back and do the west side of the street next year. So what's in front of the committee today is specific to the east side of the street.
Okay, so Commissioner, I just have a couple questions. I know that we had discussed this before, and I think it's great that Huber Brewer is willing to take it on and say we're going to do everyone's sidewalk in and around the area. But I guess what I'm a little bit unclear on is, it says that, it's a gift to us. I mean, while I can appreciate that, it's something that, we don't have to worry about in theory, we don't really own the sidewalks right now as it stands. I mean, have they gone around? I mean, they would have just gone around to the neighbors. Or is it, I guess what I'm trying to understand is this Beautify Berwyn, is that a project that like is other facets to that we are also doing from the city's perspective, or is it just simply the sidewalk that they're doing the sidewalks?
So excellent question. So this is, and I do not want to be in a position where I'm taking credit for the work of Huber Brewer. So their project, they've been, we started a conversation with them last year. They reached out to us because they want to do something for the neighbors. They want to do something to, since they exist, their property exists at the end of that block. That's just an overall good to be good neighbors. And this was the most obvious thing that was a high need and matches their core strengths as a business. So do they intend to do other things related to this? They are in. This is part of a strategy for them to be engaging their neighbors and to be good neighbors. We've not talked specifically about other investments to that area. As far as the point around accepting a gift, this is something that in conjunction with Corporation Counsel, it was advised that the proper way for us to proceed with this was to make sure that we had a resolution that covered that.
And they've, obviously gone around, they've done the necessary steps of, obviously contacting them, getting indemnified, doing whatever they have to do.
Yes.
To make sure nothing comes back on us, right?
Correct. Yes. Yeah. So that they're going to go through the full permitting process exactly the same way that a resident would. Nothing about that is changing. We have with a lot of support and involvement from Councilor Allen, decided that it would be great to reciprocate this is about $65,000 worth of work that they're providing. So we are interested in turning around and waiving the fee for each permit, which is the second piece of legislation that's with us.
Okay. Are there any questions from my colleagues on this item?
Yes, Councilor Carney, I have a question. So Corey, I'm wondering, if the municipal sidewalk program were to end up getting enacted, how would this gift interplay or interact with the program?
I mean, I think just as it's currently proposed, the folks who have these new sidewalks would be waived from the fee for 10 years, but at the same time, we wouldn't have to expend any funding on this stretch. And I think, the benefits of the project, I think, would outweigh the minimal amount of funding that we would not have for 10 years from these owners for having the sidewalk fee waived. At least that's under the current proposal, that's how it would work.
I got it. Thank you.
Even though these other property owners around Huber Brewer are getting their sidewalk done essentially for free, they're still going to be waived from not having to pay the proposed fee if this were to move forward.
So that's under the current proposal. I think that's how we would operate, is that, they just got a brand new sidewalk. And so we would not be charging them the fee for 10 years.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm struggling to understand with that is they didn't. It's not like they paid for the sidewalk or the. I mean, the Huber Brewer obviously would be waived from it because they're the ones actually doing the work, installing it, paying for it. But these other neighbors, I don't understand how they would be waived. Yet we're still going to go and say people who don't have sidewalk in front of their house have to go and pay this because it's still the same theory of everybody's benefiting from having a good walkable sidewalk, but it's not like we're trying to forgive that to make up for the fact that they're paying 7% over 10 years.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Let me speak to Joe Barry and just see if the ordinance, specifically outlines whether or not if the owner pays to repair the sidewalk, then their fee is paid. Whereas to your point, Councilor Carney, if the sidewalk is just replaced at no cost to the owner, whether or not we're obligated to waive the fee, I'd be happy not to, because to your point, the owners didn't pay for this to be done. It's great that it's being done, but I understand the logic that, they didn't pay for this, so we're under no obligation to waive it for them. So I'll just confirm with Joe Barry that that's how the ordinance reads.
Commissioner Collins, just a quick question, clarification. Is this property your brewery property or?
No, Counselor, this is property for the property owners down the street. So it's covering all the sidewalks that would need to be replaced just for that whole block, which is a residential block until you get to the end where Huber Brewer's property is.
So what prompted the conversation for the donation? Did they just out of blue came to the city and said, here's what we want to donate it?
Something that they wanted to do. They want to give back to that particular area. I don't know if you've had a chance to drive over there, but they rehabbed their entire building. So now you have at the end of the block, this beautiful building sitting at the end, but leading to their building, they wanted to be able to contribute to the neighborhood. So they're doing the sidewalks, but then they want to do like one big like kickoff community day, like on the block. They're just literally being good neighbors. But because they're in the neighborhood and they did this fabulous rehab of their building, they want to be able to make sure that the rest of the block looks great too. You want to keep driving down a raggedy street and then you drive into this like glamorous building at the end. So they were just trying, this was something that they wanted to do, kind of like with community engagement and giving back to the community. This was just an idea that they had because, like Commissioner Collins said, this is like in their wheelhouse. This is the type of stuff that they can do.
Okay, well.
So they brought it. They brought it up. They brought it up. Like we didn't ask for it or anything. They brought it up.
Okay. So they are actually going out of their way to provide this service.
Correct.
Okay, and the $65,000 is an estimation, or is that the hard current that they are donating?
So, Counselor, that would be what it would cost if it was done through the city contract. So we worked with Chris Ettinger, who runs the sidewalks program for DPW, and he took a look at this space and said if we had Ballard do it, this would be $65,000 worth of work.
Okay, then that include that include the item that you are going to talk about, which is the permit fees are in that amount, or are this?
Well, the total permit fees are $350. So since we're using a round number of 65,000, I think we can include it.
Okay. Well, that's nice of them.
I completely agree. It's a stretch that has a really good mix of owner occupied and rental properties, and could be, one of those neighborhoods that could potentially slide downhill without additional investment. And so, as Councilor Allen said, the investment that they've made themselves in their own property at the end of the road, and then to extend that on down the street, and be a great neighbor that way. This is just one of those moments where it seems like, pure good for the city, pure good for the neighbors along that street, and the entire cost to the city is waiving a $350 worth of permit fees. So it just seemed good all the way around.
Excellent. No further question, Councilor Carney.
All right, so since it's the two items, I'm going to just make a motion to put both these items dealing with this project on the agenda. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor? Aye.
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 Okay, great. So the next some signage for the Nettleton Commons. Is there someone that can speak to that item?
I'm sorry, Counselor, what is this item? We weren't sent the legislation ahead of time to know what was being reviewed.
It's signage for on the side of the Nettleton for
I think, Councilor Carney, that by mistake, we sent you one that belongs under Councilor LaToya Allen, so we resent you a new one with that out of it. But if that's the permission to encroach, that belongs to Councilor Allen's committee.
I wasn't really sure why I was on there.
That's that one tomorrow.
Okay,
Councilor Carney. So if you just skip that one, because we sent you a new email with that out of it.
The waiver for competitive bid for the street sweeper waste, I guess, is the next item. Is there someone that can speak to that?
Commissioner Robinson? Commissioner Robinson, are you there? Okay, I'll have to find out where he is. It looks like he's on, but his
You hear me
microphone's-
now?
There he is.
Hey. Sorry. What was the question
That's
again?
okay.
I apologize.
No, that's okay. It's for the street sweeping waste, the waiver competitive bid.
I'm not in the loop on that one. I apologize. I've been out a few days.
That's
COVID,
okay.
Vaccine kind of stung me a little bit, so.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
I can get more information and get back to you, Carney. I'm sorry, Counselor. Counselor Carney?
Yeah. So I guess my question is this time sensitive, or is this something that we can hold till we have more information?
Well, you're gonna have to hold it now. I mean, I have to speak to Ann about it. I mean, that's probably one of her items that she pushed forward to. So,
All
I would
right,
have to.
hold that. The next, which is issuance of bond for engineering services, FEMA disaster mitigation, Arsenal Park hydraulic and flood.
Good afternoon, Councilor. John Kivlin with the Engineering Department. It's two letters, a request for bonding and authorization for an engineering study for the Arsenal Park FEMA mitigation. 75%, the total is 266,000. 75% of that is reimbursable from FEMA. And the remaining balance of 25% is going to be a local match from City Engineering Department services, in-kind services. So it's 100% reimbursable or fundable.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? All right, hearing none, I'm going to make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. The next item appears to be the there's I guess amending the ordinance for Salina to James 11. Want to speak to that?
That's me again, Councillor John Kivlehan. It's an amendment to an existing ordinances, going for bonding, project authorization, and agreement with the New York State DOT for the East Colvin Street Mill and Pave project. It's a federal aid project. We're just about ready to wrap up the preliminary design phase. The next phase we're requesting is the detailed design phase for $229,000, which is 80% reimbursable from state DOT.
Are there any questions on that item? Okay, I'll make a motion to put that on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. The next item appears to be infrastructure improvements and stormwater maintenance, authorizing bonding for that project.
Correct, Councillor. It's a bonding request for infrastructure improvements and stormwater maintenance. The cost not to exceed $325,000. The funds will be used to address various infrastructure improvements in the right of way or any stormwater maintenance issues that arise during the course of the year.
Okay, are there any questions on this one for my colleagues? Hearing, make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the next item appears it's engineering again, but vehicles.
Correct. It's to replace two old vehicles, a 2005 and 2007 Ford Taurus. One of the cars is actually being removed. I went down to DPW for servicing, and they actually had to pull it because it wasn't fit to be on the road. So it's to replace those two vehicles and get two new vehicles.
So what will you junk the old one, or is there a way to dispose of them or sell them? What do you do with the old one?
I'm not sure what DPW does with the old vehicles. I mean, when it's not fit to be on the road, I believe it has to be scrapped. It's not sellable other than for scrap. The other
Yeah, that's
vehicle
correct. That's correct, John. That if it's salvageable, we'll usually try to use it in our fleet. We have a lot of uses for it. If it's not, we'll use it for parts. Sorry to just butt in like that.
No problem, Jeremy. Thank you.
Questions on this item? All right, hearing, I'm going to make a motion to put it on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Appears to be accepting a cure-in-place super pipelining and 5-spot repair sections over on Clinton Street. I believe it's by J.A. Tech Properties and Renali Taylor LLC. Just speak to that item. Not sure what's going on.
Engineering again, Councillor, to accept the sewer lining of the combined sewer in Clinton Street in the 1000 block, plus associated spot repairs at 5 locations at no cost to the city, to be completed by JMA this year.
Common practice when they're building out or doing developments in an area to take that on.
Sorry, Councillor, could you repeat that question? I didn't hear it.
I was asking, is this common practice when developers are building out or doing work in an area that they would take on doing the sewer lining and things like that?
It's common practice as part of the 1-to-1 offset requirement, where we can ask if they're increasing sanitary fluids to the sewer. We can ask for an offset, which typically involves sewer lining. Under this project, they were not subject to the one-to-one offset, but because of the abandonment and they want to make proposed improvements over the sewer, it was in their interest to repair the sewer by CIP lining, so they offered to do it just in their own interest.
Any other questions on that item from colleagues? Right, John?
Just out of curiosity, Councilor Carney, John, when these repairs take place, do we as a city also just go by there to make sure that the piping around there is decent enough before they close it up and having to go back to dig it up if anything goes wrong?
Correct, Councilor. As part of the ordinance, they have to have a full-time inspector there. But as part of the CIP lining process, you have to do a pre-TV inspection and then a post-TV inspection of the sewer. And those videos have to be provided to the engineering department to review.
Okay, and those inspectors are city employees, right? Not, or are they contractors?
They have to have a full-time non-city employee inspector down there, and the city is entitled to go down anytime during construction to oversee and witness any phase of the construction.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions on that one? Okay, I'm going to motion to put it on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. So John, I think the next item is also you. It appears we're given National Grid use and access to 3 city parcels. Can you, I guess, walk us through what's going on there?
Correct. National Grid wants to use three city parcels as part of an upcoming project where they're going to inspect their gas mains. They're going to use these lots for staging. Two of the lots are on Midland Ave, just where the creek walk enters Midland Avenue and that green space there. The other lot is on the corner of Salina and MOK. For both lots, National Grid is going to give us $3,200 for the 2 lots on Midlands, and then $6,000 for the lot on MOK and Salina Street. I do have to send the clerk an amended letter. It was a typo in condition number 4, where it says $2 million and $5 million insurance. That needs to be changed to $1 million and $4 million respectively.
Yeah, that'd be
Other
great.
than that, all the conditions of the letter stay the same.
Could you send me an amended letter with the correct amounts? That'd be great. Thanks.
Yes, will do, John.
Okay, any other questions on this item?
Yes, a related question, Councilor Carney. John, and I don't know if you will know this. I through my conversation with National Grid, they had indicated to me that once they abandon like a parcel in the city, maybe construct a new site, leaving that there are so many hurdles that they go through to maybe sell it, or that they all in all they told me that they just leave it there. The property is just there. Now, do we know how many of these properties throughout the city that the National Grid leave behind as part of their parcel and are just sitting there? Maybe this may not be a question. Maybe Corey or anybody else.
I'm not aware of National Grid really owning too many parcels that they've abandoned and that are no longer in use. It really be a question for National Grid to identify to the city where these parcels are, and then have further discussions with National Grid on the future ownership of those parcels. But myself personally, I'm not aware of any vacant parcels that National Grid is currently holding.
And feel anybody else can feel free to jump in. Just to bring up a recent example, there's one on it's an old station that they are abandoning and if they have not now, they probably will soon, on Glenwood, and usually they just leave it there. It stays like that, and I'm wondering how many of those throughout the city that because of the upgrade, they pick up and leave it there. You know, and we can't do anything with it, nor can they sell it. Anybody?
I can reach out to Chris Gorman and ask him for a list of these sites and what the process is when they decommission their facilities, as to do they pass it on, or do they try to sell these parcels to adjoining neighbors or similar. So I'll reach out to Chris Gorman, National Grid, and get you an answer.
All right, thanks, John.
Yeah, if you could keep us all posted on that, I appreciate it as well.
Yeah, will do, councilors.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to put this one on the agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and that appears to be the final item on the agenda today.
Councilor Carney,
Yes.
I got First Deputy Aaron Fordock on to talk about that sweeper waste waiver, if you have a minute.
Perfect. Absolutely.
Okay. And can you hear? I guess I don't have her on. She looks like she's on, but I don't know what's going on. Just spoke to her.
She just unmuted herself and
Talking, but you can't hear me.
Well, we can hear you now, so I got you on speaker.
Okay, perfect. I'm getting reverb. Hold on. So the street sweeper material, we produce that because we sweep the streets, and we need a place to take it. We've been piling it up at our location off of Pete Street. And now we have the DEC is coming in to remediate that site. So we need a disposal site, and the closest, cheapest place is Camillus Landfill.
Did you get that, Councilor Carney?
Are there any questions for my colleague on this one?
No questions.
All right, then I'll make a motion to put this on the agenda. Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so all the items that we've gone through are ready, and that concludes the meeting today. Thank you, everyone, and have a nice rest of your afternoon.
just to confirm, the first one is not going to go on the agenda, correct, Corey?
I sent out another memorandum that took that out, so it's going on Counselor Allen's committee.
No, I think he's referencing the SU parking one. That one is withdrawn.
Oh, right. That's
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
That one's withdrawn, and the one that somehow found its way onto this agenda that belongs to Counselor Allen is obviously withdrawn as well. So, other than that, all the other items after that are ready. All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.